This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
Yeah, obvious, we got a problem here. And it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got two friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and friend on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off? AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wave. Take it to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, a very special episode of Affirmative Murder. I'm not joined by my partner in true crime, Franco Evans, this week, but joining me this episode to talk about a very, very, very special case. The sweetest pie I know, one of my favorite podcasters and people in the world, and also a diabetic. So I didn't want to endanger her life by asking her to do this case, but I couldn't think of anybody that I would rather talk about this case with. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on Affirmative Murder, please welcome Amanda Jacobson.
Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
I'm giving you golf claps.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to you. Yes, welcome to you.
I am so excited to be
Amanda,
here.
thank you for taking time out to do this.
Get out of here. Where is Frank?
He's a postman. He's a postman. He's busy.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
he's the postman.
Also, in to be fully transparent, your schedule is busy, and we had this window, and it didn't line up with Fran, and so I will have to deal with that. I'll have to deal with that later. And
I'm so sorry.
No, because I was like, listen, you're a hot commodity. I was like, Amanda's saying the window's here. We're doing the window now.
Okay. I am so sorry, Fran.
No. Yeah. Go. Yeah. You know what?
Big love to Fran, for real.
Yeah. No one ever does this. So please, you give your apologies to Fran.
I'm so sorry. And
she's a jet setter
I want to explain that my window is so narrow because April, as we record this, has been absolutely nutso. Like last weekend, I was in Omaha for a conference. Today, I'm literally, after this recording, flying to Vegas for my bachelorette party.
Yeah.
So I might die. And then if I don't die, next week, I'm home for like 2 days, and then I'm flying to Pennsylvania to officiate a wedding. So I'm like in cuckoo bananas mode for April. If you had been like, I need a guest for May, I'd be like, dope. I can record anytime, anywhere, any place.
But April was full, and yet you still made enough time, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. Also, this may be the last time that you're able to record with a full voice after going to Vegas. I mean, who knows what that's going to sound like when you get back, you know? I
mean, I don't want to upset you with jealousy, but there is about an 80% chance that I will be partying tonight around 11 p.m. with Usher.
No, shut up.
I cannot shut up.
Usher Raymond.
Literally. Yeah.
Let it burn, Usher.
Yes. This is my
Usher.
Confession. I'm going to party with Usher. Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty jealous. I don't think we can continue this. I'm going to be honest with you.
I get it. I don't know if I can continue this. I am not deserving of this at all. There just happens to be someone who knows someone who got us on a list for his after party, and he's like usually in attendance and loves to like hang out with the bachelorettes. Yeah,
I picture him being a very showboaty. I hope that he's also cool, but I hope he does the thing where he spins his chain and then slides his feet across the floor to you. Like,
I would lose my
spinning the chain, flicking it around his neck as his feet glide like angel feet.
Like, I'm 35. The possibility of me at least peeing a little bit and possibly pooping my drawers is like not. It's more than zero.
Amanda, it's Usher.
I know, but I like it because it's Usher. I cannot shit.
Yeah,
myself.
you can't do that.
I can't do it. So
It's like, what's that smell? What's that smell?
Yeah, it's not good, sir. I'm so sorry. But yes. So all that to say, I do have good reason to be missing Fran like ships in the night.
Yes. These ships will pass and not collide. What's the meet? Do ships meet in a nice way?
We will pass safely and acknowledge each other again.
Someday. That will happen. That will happen.
Yep.
Not a crash.
No.
But yes, without any further ado, Amanda, let's get to the reason why we're here. An absolutely insane case. The Sweetie Pie's murder for hire story.
Yeah, so I get the impression that Sweetie Pies is sort of like the Vanderpump Rules of
black television.
Of Oprah Winfrey Network.
Yeah, and I don't spend much time on Oprah Winfrey Network. I do love Ayanna Fix My Life. I think she's a great therapist.
I follow
great
her
television.
TikTok, and she is unbelievable.
She's brilliant.
She's amazing.
The exercises that she comes up with, they open you up. They make you so vulnerable. I think she's brilliant.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great. But other than that, I don't really spend much time on the OWN network. But yes, I would say, this is a liken to Vanderpump Rules or like a Wahlburgers type of situation, which I had never heard of it, but I'm one of those people that's like, I like the idea of it. Like, I like the idea that there's this black business thriving and, and it's successful and we get to look on the day-to-day inside and have some fun.
Well, and I watched some clips and 70-year-old Miss Robbie, the matriarch of this family,
sweet.
She is an absolute angel of a human being. And I love, I was reading the synopsis of the show.
Yeah.
And it's about how, the individual we will be talking about today is also, kind of trying to find love in all the wrong places and blah, blah, blah. But, so is Miss Robbie.
Yes.
She's also trying to find love.
This story broke my heart because she is the sweetest lady with an amazing story.
Yeah.
And accomplished all these great things, and greed just kind of destroyed her whole empire and family that she built.
Seriously.
Which we will get into. So as we mentioned, Robbie Montgomery, she is the owner and proprietor of Sweetie Pies, which is a soul food restaurant based in St. Louis, Missouri. She founded it after her singing career fell through. She was an Ikeette.
Yeah.
She was a background singer for Ike and Tina Turner.
Can you even, this woman's life?
Yeah, you can't write this.
She's amazing.
And I'll get into what was annoying to me about the show. I only watched 1 or 2 episodes, but with her story being as amazing as it is, for the show to have kind of a Vanderpump Rules or Wahlburgers kind of tone.
You're focusing on the wrong thing. Miss Robbie is enough.
Exactly, right?
She's more than enough.
So we'll put a pin in that because I can get into that for conservatively 2.5 hours. It was. I was like, why is this the tone of this? But anyway, so her passion for cooking was sparked when she was elected to be the band chef for the group. So she's cooking food for Ike and Tina Turner, which, if you know the history of that probably is not the best environment to be cooking in hot oils. And, there's that was a very volatile situation.
Miss Robbie saw some shit.
She saw some shit.
You know she did. But she's a good woman. So she's not going to tell Tina's secrets. She's a good woman.
And she's a cook through and through. I think chefs are they can have a reputation of being pretentious, but a cook just wants to make sure everybody's full and comfortable.
It's her love language. She shows her love by cooking for the people that she loves. And that shines through very much with her.
There's nothing pretentious about Miss Robbie. She's very much everybody. I want everybody to be okay and warm and enjoy. Here's what I think you'd like. It's not I make food and it's how I make it, and if you don't like it, get out.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is kind of the essence of soul food. So she really embodies that in a really beautiful way, and we'll get into how this really turns. But we're giving her flowers right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So her career was cut short when her lung collapsed.
Yeah. And
she couldn't go on tour anymore. So she mourned her first career for a few years and took her mom's cookbook and remembered people always, Ike and Tina and the Ikeettes, they all loved my food and everything. So maybe I'll try my hand at cooking. And she started out cooking and doing small plates and, selling them to people. And then finally in 1996, she opened Sweetie Pies, her first soul food restaurant, which she ran with her family. And with such a great origin story and a successful and popular restaurant under her belt, Robbie and her family were greenlit for a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN, which, Oprah knows what she's doing. We know you have money, Oprah. We know you have money. You could have came up with another acronym other than OWN. We know you own everything.
Yeah, but Oprah, is the queen of like the subtle flex. And I can never take that away from her ever in a million years. Like, she fucking invented the subtle flex. Like, her whole career now, like, what she's most famous for is like, you get a car and you get a car. Like, that's not that subtle of a flex, but like,
no,
Oprah can have it.
Exactly. She's like, I have
Oprah.
my own network called OWN. You know, so
I will just always love how for like decades, Oprah magazine would only have Oprah on the cover. And I'm like, yeah, girl, of course.
She's
it's
like, it's
your
my
magazine.
time.
Of course you should be the
gowns.
only one on the cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people like kind of gave her shit for it. And I'm like, fuck you. That's
It's
Oprah.
my magazine.
It's her magazine.
How about if you want somebody else on the cover, how about you buy your own magazine?
Yeah, get
and
your
start,
own magazine.
You can do what you want with your magazine. Yeah, look, we're gonna
fuck off.
I think Gwyneth Paltrow's like the unequivocal face of Goop. Okay, for better, for good, or for bad, you know. Like, let Oprah have her calendar year of 12 great shots of her
12 seaweed lozenges
in gardens
a day to sustain her forever.
So yeah, so the show was greenlit in 2011, and it was called Welcome to Sweetie Pies. Now, I need everybody, stop this podcast if you want.
Okay.
Go to YouTube. Mm-hmm. The pilot episode of this show is available on YouTube right now. It's 15 minutes long, no commercials. And although the episode kind of reads unremarkable, it's like kind of a run-of-the-mill scripted show. A lot of it feels like not real drama. It's almost like a Operation Repo or a Hardcore Pawn where, you know, there's like plants, people come in, fake drama, and nobody's a good actor. So I can tell when stuff's real or not. Mm-hmm. However, in hindsight, this show is eerily like blatant, forecasting the future events that are to come.
Really? I didn't know the pilot was on YouTube, so I only saw a couple of clips of the show just to I really was only interested in getting to know Miss Robbie. Like, that's all I cared about.
Yeah, she cast a spell.
Yeah, but I'm going to need you to tell me more about this or make those connections as we go, because that's nuts.
Well, I'm gonna do it all right now.
Amazing.
So the pilot is available on YouTube right now. You have to check it out. Maybe let us tell you what happened, and then go so you know, and then go watch this pilot. So
and see the Easter eggs.
Oh my God! So it's an Easter basket.
Okay,
so
I'm ready.
So just to give you a couple examples, the pilot, first of all, it starts off with her narrating, "I'm Robbie Montgomery, and this is my restaurant, and I was an Ikette," and telling that whole story, and she's like, "This is my son. He's looking for love in all the wrong places, like we mentioned. He has a kid on the way. He does not know how to spend money. We are always getting into fights all the time about how to best run the business. It's all these things that are like money, and he's living. She goes, and he has a tendency to live outside his means, and he pulls up in like a Mercedes Benz with big rims on it and stuff, and everything's like, well, we didn't get this order this month. Like the financial, it's light and funny because it like, ooh, they get into little witty back and forths with each other because he's the business partner. Right. Yep. So he's, so the success of the business is directly tied to his financial well-being. Mm-hmm. But he also has a baby on the way. He has a girlfriend he wants to spoil. He likes to live nice. And also they are this kind of dynasty family in St. Louis, so he feels the need to keep up with appearances. He has designs in his head and a mohawk, and he's like a big guy. I think he's like a vain guy, and all of that really shows through in the pilot episode.
He's peacocking.
Yeah, big time.
He's a big
time.
I think maybe it's possible that he watched what was that show? The dating expert with that guy named Mystery who wore like a fuzzy top hat.
Oh my God, what is this?
Okay, I will find this because
Please,
this was
I can't go any further.
Thing in the early 2000s, mystery dating.
Eliminate? No, not eliminate.
No, literally dating expert. I'm sorry, make this sound I got this. I got this. Okay, yes, okay, so his he's from Toronto, Canada. His real name is Eric von Markovic.
Sure.
But he goes by Mystery, and he had his show was called The Pickup Artist.
Can you please not tell me that his name is it's like Mr.E, or is it Mystery spelled out like the word?
It's just Mystery.
Okay, cool. I would have had to leave.
Yep.
I would have to leave my own home. Yeah.
And he had a TV show on VH1 called The Pickup Artist, which was basically like how gross incels can like gaslight women into having sex with you with like these follow me for more recipes, like these simple tips and tricks.
That's such a weird thing that has come back around in the TikTok era of like,
it's weird.
Hey guys, let me tell you how to pick up a lady. First of all, don't look at them.
Right. But I'm texting you a picture of Mystery in his famous fuzzy top hat, and this will just let you know that like this is the guy that was telling men in like 2001 how to put their peepees in some VVs.
Yeah. Hey
this
fellas,
guy.
if you want to be dripping in lady bits, put on
this guy who's probably
a
like
skunk on your head and
I don't think
lipstick neck tattoos.
He looks like someone who has either never gone down on a woman because he refuses because ew, or he likes it too much.
Exclusively.
And it's like uncomfortable how much he likes it. You know? Anyway, being a woman is horrifying. So that's Mystery.
Yeah. So that's Mystery, and this is the kind of vibe that Tim Norton gives off. It's very much like a I'm just living my life and I'm just, just trying to so much money and success. I don't know what to do with all of it. But the level of success that he has and the level of success that he's showing are very different.
Right.
They also allude to there's a nephew on the show named Lil Charles who he doesn't like. So it's not Andre, but it shows you that
there's a pattern.
It's just foreshadowing. It's just like a lot of foreshadowing.
It's scary because it's like it could have like Lil Charles, maybe you were right there in the crosshairs. We don't know.
It could have Amanda, when we get to like how when we get to how he did it, it literally could have been anybody.
It could have been anybody.
He's the way the scam unfolds. But one other thing that again foreshadows is that they kind of touch on it, and in the moment, if you're watching the show in 2011, I'm sure you just go like, "Oh man, what a crazy story!" But in hindsight, it's different. So he also mentions how he meets his girlfriend who's pregnant on the show in the pilot, and she goes, "I always ask my guys 3 questions on the first date." She goes, "Do you have any kids? Do you have a job? Do you have any felonies?" And he goes, nope, yes. And then he goes into a thing about his felonies, and he turns out like he tried to be a drug dealer when he was like 17 years old, and then he couldn't get the money back, and so because he owed drug dealers money, he started robbing people to pay them back. So it again, in hindsight, it's like, oh, when you're desperate, you'll do anything. It just kind of you'll go there. It shows his character of like, oh, you owe people money, so you'll do anything to fix your debt problem. I'm a big proponent of second chances and not judging people on their past. But in this specific situation, when I know the future, I'm judging you on your past.
Oh, right. And like, it's totally classic Amanda to be like, oh, that doesn't ring any alarms for me.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like,
fine.
Oh, oops.
So that's just a couple of like the foreshadowing things as far as, his past, him in his operations within the business, and just kind of him as a person overall, and his personality as far as living outside of his means. And also on top of all those things, he's also his mom's business partner. So hooray for her for having a business partner who lives outside of their means and is only focused on the money coming in and probably not redispersing it into the business, probably putting it into his pocket. So,
Miss Robbie does not deserve
Miss Robbie's like, I want to have a family business. I want us to be this respected family in the community. I want to do good things for the community. I want, son by my side. Also, Miss Robbie, from what I've learned just watching her, at least, I mean, I don't know about her today in 2023, but at the point where she's becoming, mogul, own network TV show, multiple franchise restaurants. She is, I think she was very like aware of optics, and being a family business was like a really big deal to her. She wanted people to really feel at home. The type of food that she makes, it was home and family and culture, and
she wanted to like live her values, and that her values were also her brand. Like both of those things can be true.
Absolutely.
And she's a smart, savvy businesswoman, so she like knew what the formula was.
Yes. So just nothing but nods to Miss Robbie.
Seriously.
Brilliant businesswoman, a great mom trying to give her family opportunities, and a great matriarch. The nephew, like everybody, she's trying to get she wants to have a family machine, So, and again, in talking about all this, it made me kind of upset because I had never heard of this show. And in researching this case, I was so inspired by her. Like, I don't know if I mentioned it, but on one of the other reasons that she became the band chef was because a lot of the restaurants that they were going to on tour were like whites only. Like they weren't allowed to eat there. So they would cook in the hotel rooms. So I'm reading all this stuff, and then I go to pop this show on. And Miss Robbie's story is kind of an afterthought. And it's more so like, bickering family and low key, running her business into the ground by not really giving a shit. That's kind of the theme. It's like, I want things to go this way. And then it's like her nephew's outside smoking a cigarette too long.
Right.
And it's like, this woman she's
busting
giving you a
her
job.
ass and giving you so much, like, get that fucking cigarette out of your mouth and go back inside and help her.
It's like little Charles is outside smoking a cigarette. Then it's like, Tim got here at 12. Business, the restaurant opens up at 9, but he kind of strolled in late. That's the kind of and it's like all these, like, everybody's stressing this wonderful lady out.
Right.
But she's like, but that's my family.
Ooh. It's so annoying how, like, we play up those parts for reality television because we as the consumer, like, love that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, like you said, it's like, this isn't the story. Like, this is not what makes this endeavor so important and so amazing to watch it grow.
Not at all.
But,
and
like,
it's like,
we want that Vanderpump
that's
Rules bullshit.
It's the formula that works, but for it to be Oprah Winfrey's network and for it to be, I've never seen a black show like this, like about a bit, this works for the Wahlburgers because you're like, Mark Wahlberg's rich, Donnie Wahlberg's rich. This is just like a fun thing for them. Like, they can bicker about it and whatever. But this is a family I'd never heard of, and you're kind of getting insight into, like, how did they build this little dynasty that they're trying to build? And it's more so like, nobody's doing anything right. I'm pulling my hair out, and it's like, why isn't anybody helping this lady become Oprah Winfrey? Like, why isn't her family, like, on their shit?
Right.
So it didn't translate as well for me when it's not like a celebrity thing or like Vanderpump Rules. All those people are rich. Like, it's,
who gives a shit if they're fucking off at work? Like,
yeah, like
they work for Lisa Vanderpump, one of the richest people in Beverly Hills. Like, she's like, not gonna suffer. Did
the event get messed up tonight? Like, oh well.
No one gives a fuck. That makes great TV.
Like, for this show, if an event gets messed up, it feels more real because, like, I don't know.
The stakes are real.
Like, she's trying to grow something, and everybody's just like, I'm just here to get my paycheck.
Right.
It just was weird. I didn't like it, and so the show ran on OWN for 9 seasons. Again, it's crazy to me that this show was on for so long. I never heard of the show.
Yeah.
But I don't check into OWN. But 9 seasons of a television show ran from 2011 to 2018, and on March 14th of 2016, frequent cast member Andre Montgomery Jr. was murdered in a St. Louis shooting, and Andre was Robbie Montgomery's grandson, whose son, Andre Sr., was also a victim of gun violence when Andre was a baby. So Andre hadn't really come around much. He had lived with other family, and she wanted to see him graduate from high school. Yep. That was her big goal. It was a storyline of the show when he came on, that she moved him to St. Louis, wanted to really get behind him, and she wanted to see him graduate because it's like she sees her son and her grandson, the life that he didn't get to have.
Andre was born in 1994, and his father, so Miss Robbie's son, was killed the same year. So, like, when you say that when he was a baby, like, he was a baby. Like, never even got the chance to know this man.
His dad at all.
It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, and he lived in Texas, so he kind of grew up without Miss Robbie in his life, and then she moves him from Texas to St. Louis.
And it just makes this so much more fucked up that he was the target of his uncle's. That he didn't.
That Tim didn't see all of that. That how much Miss Robbie. That your brother
was killed by gun violence.
Yeah.
And this child, your brother's child, your nephew, grew up without his father because gun violence took your brother. And then you killed your nephew with gun violence. Like, what the fuck?
It truly is the coldest thing I think I've ever heard. Like, it's just because it's your nephew, it's your troubled nephew, who your mother, who is giving you every opportunity in the world. Like, you're her business partner on the merit of what? Like, I don't. At least in the show, obviously it's a dramatization, but the show makes him seem kind of incompetent,
right? And that he's just kind of there because he's her son, and she's giving him this opportunity, not because he has all of these skills that make him valuable as a business partner in this endeavor.
He's a nepo baby.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
he's a nepo baby, and you're this kid's uncle, and you don't see the help that's needed and the need for your mom to get this closure in helping her grandson succeed because her son was taken from her. And you go, nah, man, I see an opportunity to make some money, and so fuck that guy.
Oh, and he's so bad at it.
So bad. So which we'll get into. I mean, absolutely, this is one of the dumbest plans I've ever seen. Which we will.
So dumb.
We will get there. It's absolutely insane. He's a big idiot. He's just a big idiot with a dumb haircut. So Like I said, so Andre was the subject of multiple episodes, him moving there, him going to school, his graduation was filmed on the show. Miss Robbie was so proud to see him walk the stage. And, you know, after he graduated, he did get into some issues, you know, trying to find himself, you know, not having a dad, the way his dad was taken from his life. He's trying to find his way through life. And he had some trouble. So what happened was when he was killed, people assumed that it was because of the life that he was living. They deleted his Facebook page because he had
drug-related shooting or
Yes. But his funeral was covered on an episode of Sweetie Pies. And at the funeral, Miss Robbie urged the attendees to come forward with any information that they could have because she was confident that her grandson was set up. And when I was watching, I couldn't find the whole episode, but I just found the speech that she gave at the funeral. And Tim couldn't be found. He wasn't in any of the. I was
just gonna ask.
I was looking because I wanted to see. I wanted to see if he was hugging his mom, hugging anybody.
Shit.
I didn't see him there. So if he was there, he wasn't. They didn't film him in this very serious moment where she's pleading for help because it just feels like a setup. I
didn't realize that Andre's funeral and like his death, not that his death was televised, but that like they talked about it on the show and then televised his funeral. I mean, that adds a layer of like disgust and pain in my heart thinking about this. Like that is so fucked up.
So he was killed in 2016. The show ended in 2018. So again, I didn't have time to watch 9 seasons of Welcome to Sweetie Pies.
Right.
But I have to imagine that seasons 8 and 9, it comes up. I have to imagine they asked Tim, How do you feel about your nephew being killed? And I have to imagine that footage is probably incredibly disturbing to watch him pretend to be sad or mourn his nephew in any kind of way. I wasn't able to find any of it as hard as I searched because I'm sure the Oprah Winfrey Network probably ripped this from their streaming platform if they have one.
My jaw is on the floor.
But imagine that footage. I mean, he was killed in 2016. The show went on for 2 more seasons. So there's 2 more seasons where an unsolved murder has taken place and people are looking for answers. And I'm sure they asked him. I'm sure she comes up to him and goes, I just miss Andre today. And he's like, I know, Mom. But it's okay. Knowing what he did, which we will get into.
Yeah. And that he took his mother, who had been so good to him, and took her grandchild away from her that she had just like reconnected with, was trying to help him find his way. It's just like Miss Robbie has already seen so much tragedy in her lifetime. She lost her son. Now she's lost her grandson. It's just like, my heart just breaks wide open for her.
And the world, also the world is the world. Like the world is a cold place, but like she has earned a comfortable life, free from gun violence. She's earned the ability to be able to take her nephew under her wing, and do her best to protect him. Now, obviously, Andre was an adult and he could make his own decisions, but that's not what happened. Like what they thought happened wasn't he wasn't a victim of gun violence, which we'll get into. But she earned the ability to. She earned the ability to Uncle Phil her grandson.
Absolutely, she did.
She's worked hard. She's built a business. She's built a brand, and she has the means to help her family.
Yep.
And also she's been doing that.
Yes, that's like the way
for like 25 years.
Yes, she walks her talk. Like that's the way that she is. She takes care of her own, and she's amazing. It just makes you even that much more angry about this whole situation, which
the
was
idea
just so
that
stupid in the fucking first place.
So dumb. It's like the idea that she had to feel helpless. Like, what more could I have done? I didn't put him in a good. She had to feel all those things for 3 or 4 years.
I'm gonna cry.
2016 to 2020, which is where we are now. I'll get into it. So in August of 2020, Robbie Montgomery would unfortunately find out that her instincts at that funeral were correct when Travell Anthony Hill, the man who was arrested and brought into custody for the murder of Andre, admitted to being a hitman in a murder-for-hire plot straight out of a TV show writer's room.
Yo.
Like, the idea that this is a 9-season television show ended this way is insane and so stupid. He definitely watched 24 or Scandal or something. Like, this is such a dumb TV tropey.
It definitely reads as though he saw this on TV and tried to carry it out and like did a really bad
terrible job. Because again, at the funeral, Robbie knew. It was like he just came out of his hotel for no reason. Like, it just, something isn't right. So
Right.
people already knew it wasn't right. Something was weird. He was able to elude for 4 years, but everything's going to come to light eventually. And it came to light because a person shot somebody. All you got to do is find one person and the whole gingerbread house comes tumbling down.
Yep.
And they found the right person. They brought him in. He confessed to being a hitman. And it turned out that Tim Norman, with the help of an insurance agent friend of his, had opened up a life insurance policy on his nephew, Andre, without his knowledge. Fraudulently.
This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech. And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty.
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
Fraudulently making himself the sole beneficiary of $450,000, which is like, I never want people to misunderstand what I'm saying when I say stuff like this, but like $450,000 is a life-changing amount of money.
Of course it is.
But like,
Not enough to kill someone.
not enough to kill a person for one, and also like, just do the work. Like, you're sitting on a
gold mine, frankly.
You're at the helm of a franchise.
Yep.
Like, just take your time. And why are you living outside of your? He's a sociopath.
Right.
I mean, like, there's no explanation as to why you wouldn't.
Yeah,
you're reaping
can't-
the benefits. You've been on a TV show for 9 seasons. How are you not seeing
Right.
the pathway to making $450,000 legitimately?
Money is just nuts. Like, it makes people completely...
It's a corruptor.
Yeah, it makes people completely lose their minds. Like, we've covered cases where people have offed their spouses for less than $100,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
What are you
of
gonna
course-
take a nice 6 months off?
Right? Like,
And
obviously we're also looking at that through a 2023 lens where like one egg costs $8,000. But like,
yeah.
so like $100,000, obviously that's a fuck ton of money, but it's like that in 2023 lens, that's not that
Yeah.
much money. That's
Not, especially not when you've committed a murder. Like, you can't
No.
flee the country.
no, you cannot
can-
live comfortably on the lam on $100,000. You can't live
for the rest of your
comfortably-
life. Yeah.
You can't in 2013 or 20. When did he do that? 2016. He killed. This
2016.
boy.
Yes.
Had this boy killed. You couldn't run off and retire in secrecy for the rest of your life on $450,000.
No.
Like
no.
the thought process.
That's a nice amount of money if you are under the impression that like no one's ever going to find out about this. I'm going to liquidate
and I'm
this
just
money
gonna
from this
stay
and just
here in my
Yeah, and
current life. In
keep
my current,
doing my
Yes.
job. Like,
He thought
that's how
he
that's
thought
what he
that's
thought.
what was gonna happen. It's
Yes.
so delusional.
Yeah.
He didn't.
He's
Even
like, I'm not going
try to
anywhere.
run. Yeah.
No.
It was. Okay.
He remained on the show.
Keep going. My brain is melting out of my head. It blows my mind.
So
Like, it's not funny, but like I can't not.
it's so stupid.
It's so stupid that I can't.
and like
not
it's
laugh.
it's so stupid, and also it's like unbelievably evil.
It's
like it's
so
like
evil.
it blows my mind how callous and cold you have to be to do this plan, and then to do a dumb plan
It's so dumb.
and confidently dumb
So confident.
is what makes it hilarious.
So
Still big, still dumb haircut, still like
fuzzy
pulling
top
up in the
hat.
Mercedes Benz.
Yep.
He's still like, yeah, man, I know what happened to Andre. That sucks. Anyway, we're going to Belize. You're like, what?
Okay.
Like all of a sudden, because again, nobody knew that he did this.
Yep.
So for 4 years, I would assume I never really saw if they released the money to him because they had to do an investigation, I would imagine. So I don't even know if he ever got the $450,000.
I don't know
But
if
if he
got
did,
all of it, but I think he got some of it.
and he immediately probably started
Spending.
acting gaudy with
Yeah.
it, like so people are asking questions. So that may maybe raise some red flags
Maybe,
too,
yeah.
especially in hindsight when Travell Hill admits that he was paid $5,000. So I'm sure he didn't tell Travell how much money he was getting.
Which-
he paid Travell $5,000. You know how, but it's
Travell.
you know how
$5
desperate.
grand? I know.
It makes me think of that.
It makes me feel for him, honestly.
I'm sure you could get somebody killed for less money than that. It's like the desperation
Yes.
to what somebody was willing to do bracket is, $5,000 is what he said yes to.
But that
he
adds
might
a
have said yes to
layer-
$2,500.
It adds a layer of sinister
Yeah,
to Tim.
he found a desperate person.
But yes, because he exploited the vulnerability of Travell, and
it's like $450,000 was enough life-changing money for him to kill his nephew, and $5,000 was enough for Travell Hill to risk throwing his life away, which he ended up doing.
Yep.
So it's like it also shows you again the lens of this is so interesting, like the privilege of his affluence and his mother, him being a nepo baby, of like, I'm getting $450,000. So this is worth it to me.
Yep.
This dude's getting $5,000. He needs that.
Yep.
$5,000 is chump change to me. I can give him that now. I don't even need to get the life. I can give him that up front because I have money.
Well, and the fact that, and I know you're going to get to it, but the fact that he paid the woman who lured Andre twice, $10,000 to lure him out of the hotel.
Yeah.
While
insane.
he gave this poor bastard $5,000
to murder a person.
To murder someone in cold blood. Like,
murder his nephew.
What?
Yes. So, again, which we touched on about Robbie, the evil of this, on top of everything else, was that, like, the way him killing Andre in general, but the way he chose to have him shot down in the street when his father was done the same way, and then allowing his mother to believe that that's what happened, just to put your mother to that level of trauma after all she's done for you.
Yep.
You know, like, so it's like, forget that Andre's your nephew. Forget how evil that is. That you did this to your mother. That you were there when you saw him walk across that stage and the pride that she felt, you know, seeing this thing that she wanted him to be able to do so bad happen. And then to know that her other son, because he's her only son now.
Isn't there, well, her son who was killed isn't there to see his son graduate. And now her other son has done
has now going to prison. So now she's lost both of her sons and lost her grandson in the same way that she lost her son. Incredibly traumatic. As you mentioned, Amanda, Tim also paid an exotic dancer named Tanisha Ellis. He paid her $10,000 to find Andre's location the night of the murder and lure him out of his room using like sexy stripper tactics, I imagine. I don't really know, like, come outside, daddy.
I feel like
or something like that.
This part of the plot wasn't well explained. And I went through court documents and affidavits and records. Like, they got prepaid like burner phones to communicate with each other, to keep on top of Andre's movements and where Andre was. But where I'm confused is, like, where was she introduced to Andre, or how did she introduce herself to Andre, or did he go into the club that she was dancing at? Was that, like, what was the first point of contact? My
loose guess is that St. Louis isn't a big city.
Sure.
And Tim Norman is kind of like a himbo-y, wants to be young kind of guy.
Sure.
So I could imagine him and Andre maybe going to a strip club together,
right.
having a couple of nights that are fun, seeing this woman. And so they have a relationship or a rapport at least, to where when she goes, "It's me, Tanisha from the club," or something like that. Come to the street, come down to this corner, whatever. I'm assuming in the nightlife of St. Louis, they have crossed paths before,
that
to
makes
where
sense
he would,
to me. That tracks.
to where he would want to go hook up with her or go something. She could entice him.
Yeah, she was like flirting with him to get him to come outside.
Yeah,
and
so $15,000 murder for hire plot to get $450,000. When again you're sitting on Bobby's Burgers, or you're sitting on just do the work.
It's a fucking gold mine. Like, Robbie has built an absolute empire that you stand to inherit and are already like the 50% business partner of. Like you said, like, just do the fucking work. You're gonna make a whole lot more than $450,000. That's gonna sustain you for the rest of your life and your children's lives. But you were just so enticed by the idea of this lump payment that you were willing to go to these lengths. It just, I'll never understand it. I will never understand it.
Truly insane. And so in September of 2022, Tim Norton was sentenced to life in prison for conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and conspiracy to commit fraud. He was smiling in his mugshot. It's the craziest thing. I mean, and I don't think what is so sick to me about him is that I don't think he was like being a dick. I think he just is like, oh, a camera. You smile for cameras.
Yeah.
because he's this like
Something's
narcissistic.
broken.
Yeah. He's like, oh, we're taking pictures. I'll smile for the. It's not. I don't think it was this. You caught me, but I got away.
Like,
I almost.
The mugshot is disturbing because you're right. It's not like a smug or sinister smile.
It's like a school picture.
It's like a school photo. It's like say cheese.
Yeah.
Like I think you're totally spot on. I feel like it was almost automatic. Where it's like, I'm in front of a camera. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yep. I've been doing it for 9 seasons. I've been on Welcome to. I know how to smile for the camera. I was made for this. You like everything about him. I watched interviews of him like in the midst of Welcome to Sweetie. They would go to like the Essence Festival. Mm-hmm. They would go to these like Black-owned festivals and be interviewed by people who do watch the Oprah Winfrey Network. And so he is a celebrity in that world.
Sure.
And he would sit down and there would be women interviewing him and be like, oh, I'm sitting down with this fine man right here. He would get his ego stroked and. I don't know if he was like this before television. I would have to assume that he was. But television only made him more of a monster with a bigger desire for bigger things. Yep. He felt like he was a celebrity. He started smelling his own shit. Mm-hmm. And it led him to do this because he was like, I need to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I need to have a Bentley if I want one. I'm a celebrity. I have an image to uphold. Right. And so much so that when he was arrested for a murder for hire plot, he smiled for his mugshot.
Ooh, it gives me chills.
Yeah, he's a really sick guy.
It's very
so
creepy.
It's and everything about it is like the idea that like I've never heard of anything like this. Like a TV show ending this way. Like I remember when Big Black from Robin Big died. Like years later after the show was over. Rest in peace, Big Black. Great show. But like imagine if you found out like Rob Dyrdek killed Big
him.
Black.
Yeah.
Like it's so like again I don't watch the show, but 9 seasons this show had a fandom. People watched it. Right. And to find out that this reality show that you watch, where all these people are real people and everything, and it's this TV show type of ending, where it was a hit was put out on somebody and that person's dead. It really strips out the reality of it too, like the TV show. It's like, oh no, these are real. This isn't a plot. Yeah. This isn't like a plot of a TV show. Yeah. This kid that we saw on TV and walked the stage and everything, that we were led into that moment, he's a real person who's dead now because his uncle. Not his TV uncle. This isn't Family Matters. Like that's his blood uncle. These are all real people. Mm. His uncle, you strip it down to what it is. An uncle hired 2 people to kill his nephew and then was caught and arrested.
I'm just so shocked that it even took. I mean, I do understand that we have to gather evidence and like build these cases, and that a lot of times before something even goes to trial, the state, so the prosecution, wants to like be really confident that they can win. Like I get that.
Yes.
But there is Timothy Norman was so sloppy that I can't believe he was walking around for like years before being brought in.
Still did 2 seasons of a TV show.
Because he had tried to take out, 5 different life insurance policies on his nephew that were repeatedly denied because they were flagged for being fraudulent.
Yep.
And then
he was filling them out incorrect or filling them out because he was lying on them.
Yes. And then he and this like insurance agent guy that he's like kind of in cahoots with
pushed it under the table.
And they, I mean, in their, I'll read some of these to you. In the like court records, they entered text messages between Timothy Norman and his insurance agent
Wally.
buddy.
That's all. Yeah, Wally is his nickname. That's all I'm gonna call him.
And it's like you're texting this like. Like, what? So, okay.
Well, you can't be on these are dumb people. So they're like, well, we don't want to say it on the phone.
Right. So we're going to put it in
so they can't,
writing that we can print out. Like, this is the thing. I'm not here to tell you how to get away with crimes. But, like, if you talk on the phone, yes, the log of the call going out or being received is recorded. But what you're saying on that phone call is not necessarily recorded unless you're
wiretapped,
being tapped. Yeah. But text
writing
messages can be downloaded from like a cloud.
Yes.
Even if you've
it's
deleted
way more
them.
damning. Yeah.
I just like I can't.
Like, so we're gonna go through with the insurance fraud.
Yes.
And then he puts like dash line Tim.
So some of these are really creepy. Like this one that they exchanged on October 7th of 2014 where Tim and Wally are chatting about whichever application they're working on at that moment. And Tim is with Andre. And Wally is trying to get more information. And so Tim says, I got him with me. What info do you need? So when we link, we can just sign papers, then be done. I don't want to talk about it in front of him. And Wally says, okay.
So do you think he just is casually like, hey man, so when's your birthday
what's
again?
Your social security number?
Yeah, let's just, I'll think about playing the numbers later. Like, what's your, what do you,
like,
what's your,
what? And then so Wally says, okay, well, just answer the phone. And Tim says, he's with me. And Wally says, I know, watch how I do it. And then I guess they call and like Wally will ask
finesse him.
Specific question, like leading questions so he can get answers out of Andre without looking suspicious.
And then also he's, as an insurance agent, he probably is like, I can maybe get you a discount on your car insurance. I'm trying to run some numbers. Right. I'm doing a thing for somebody that, I'm trying to look out for you because you're family. And
like,
I can maybe get you
insurance agent. Can you answer some of these questions? We're trying to help you out. I imagine that's how that went. And they have so many exchanges like this where Wally is kind of like prepping Tim on what to ask, having Tim pose as Andre on the phone with the insurance companies so that they can quote unquote ask Andre these like confirming questions. Yeah. It's just like so calculated.
Yeah. And for such a dumb plan.
And for such a dumb plan that is repeatedly rejected. Like over and over and over again, these policies.
So I'm sure they flag those. Like, that you keep trying to.
They absolutely do. They're all in the court record. Like they're able to look at this laundry list of policies that they tried to get that were all fucking rejected. And then the one that like has a hope of going through, they're like, okay, let's kill him. And there are some of these text messages that are so fucking sad where Norman says stuff like he might not make it till XYZ day. Like he was clearly already in the process of setting up the murder for hire plot. So, okay, I'm trying to find this.
But you know something, what that could also be, which also is super gross, is that Andre was living a life that may have seemed like he was going down a bad path.
Maybe.
And as an uncle, instead of the
trying to
having
help
the
him.
instinct to go like, hey man, let's get you out of these streets. He's like, hey man, he might die on his own.
Right. I need to get this policy signed. Like that is the shit that's going on here. Like it's nuts. These text messages are absolutely nuts.
It's sick shit, and this guy is a really bad dude. So Travell Hill, who was the trigger man, was sentenced in October of last year of 2022 to 32 years in prison. And Tanisha Ellis was sentenced to 3 years in prison after admitting that Norman paid her $10,000 to find Montgomery and tell Hill his location. Wally was sentenced to 3 years in prison for helping Norman fraudulently apply for several insurance policies and file a claim on Montgomery's life insurance policy.
I think Wally should have gotten more because he knew. So like, here's one. I found one of these text messages. So Wally texts Tim, and this is kind of about the like fraudulent interview where he is supposed to pose as Andre on the phone with the insurance company. So Wally says, "What's up, man? This is Wally. If you could do me a huge favor and get these interviews done today, I would really appreciate it. I'll win a trip if you do." So like he's getting kickbacks.
Oh, he's still looking up for himself.
He's getting kickbacks for signing up people for these insurance policies.
Yeah.
So he's totally looking up for himself.
He's double dipping.
We can do it on a 3-way call and knock it out. And if you let me handle all your employees, we can talk about kickbacks. I know you're busy. And Tim says, man, I'm worried about that thing, bro. I don't want to be recorded on that call. Shit has changed. And Wally says, oh, okay. And Tim ends with, he ain't going to be around much longer.
Oh, wow.
It's so creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what the criteria is for being the mastermind of a plan, but Wally is very much involved in the planning of this.
He is. I have to imagine he took a deal to get
I'll tell you everything.
Yeah. because there's no way that this man only gets
isn't
3.
seen as a co-conspirator.
Yes, he is absolutely culpable. He is responsible in no small part for this young man's death. So he must have just sung like a canary and rolled over and gotten some sort of deal. There's nothing else.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah. Because in theory, if Tim Norman doesn't know an insurance agent who can push through the policy,
then
he has no incentive to do
literally.
this.
And they got even with a friend on the inside of insurance, they still got rejected 4 other times. This isn't that easy to do.
No.
To take out
insurance fraud?
Yeah, insurance fraud is intentionally.
It's been being done for a couple hundred years now. They're wise. They're wise to it.
Insurance fraud is intentionally tough. Yeah.
You got to at least have an Ocean's 11 level plan.
Seriously.
It can't just be, I'm going to hire a hitman to kill them in the streets.
These 2 fucking jagweeds just it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It was a very first draft insurance fraud.
It totally.
Yeah, it was like
they saw it
what
on
do you
TV.
think?
And we're like, oh, people do this. They saw an episode of CSI or something dumb, and that was
gave it a shot.
That was the inspo. I mean, it's just absurd.
Big insurance has been seeing this play for decades now.
Yes.
This is this. They smell this a mile away.
Yes. Absolutely, they do. Hence,
22-year-old boy in St. Louis. Look up his Facebook. He has guns on his Facebook. And you want a life insurance policy on him for $450,000? And
honestly, that pisses me off because it's he was rejected 4 times by 4 different insurance companies. Why are these insurance companies not sending this up the ladder or whatever to the proper authorities to go, hey,
this is fishy.
This is really fishy. They continually are trying to take out a policy on this specific person.
Yeah,
something
he might be in danger.
Not right. Can you look into this? Andre's death was so fucking preventable, fucking preventable that it just makes it even more egregious. But this is the system of capitalism and white supremacy. We all just fucking stay in our lane, and if it don't apply, let it fly, as they say. And nobody was looking out for fucking Andre, except for Miss Robbie.
Except for Miss Robbie,
she's the only fucking person.
And didn't think that she needed to be looking out inside the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It's so fucking heartbreaking and so senseless and so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Very stupid. And senseless is the best word. It's just this whole thing is lacking sense. There's no sense to be found anywhere.
Not a lick. Not a lick of sense.
No. So in the wake of all the horror of losing a grandson and then a son and then finding out that the child you raised could be capable of something so cold and evil, Robbie also had to deal with the blowback to her business that came from the negative press. She ended up shutting down all 3 of her Sweetie Pie locations in St. Louis. I saw some reports that there was one last location in Alabama somewhere, which I couldn't confirm, but Sweetie Pies was a St. Louis staple. She found her second passion in St. Louis. She opened up her first business in St. Louis. So I'm sure closing down that location was a big blow to her and caused her a great deal of pain, which pales in comparison to all the pain that she's feeling by her family being ripped apart from the inside. So I just feel so bad for her. I looked her up on Instagram. She's still posting and, getting her mogul on and, doing book deals and, telling her story, but it's all kind of tainted now. This is what she's known for, as opposed to 70 years of singing and cooking food for people and having a successful business. It's now this is what she will be having to discuss for the rest of her life. And she's in her 70s and I wish her a long life, but I don't know if this is a quick news cycle thing. This is now kind of what the family is known for. What the Sweetie Pie family is known for is you guys had this show and then ended in your nephew being murdered.
Did you look at Tim's Instagram?
No, I did
because
not.
I did.
It's still up?
It's still
up. The comments must be amazing.
It's not great, but he maintains his innocence. And the last post that he has on there is him basically going off with I'm being set up and they're trying to make it look like I did this thing and I didn't, and those who know me know I didn't do it. That run-of-the-mill bullshit that we see literally everyone who is guilty do. Yeah. But yeah, it's sad.
Well, he did it. That's the
Yeah,
he did
know.
it. Yeah,
The
there is
text
a
messages are very clear.
pretty. Your number's there. That's you, man.
That's
You did
you.
it. The phone calls, if they could pull those up, that's your voice,
Yep.
man. I could see a world where possibly there is in the world of conspiracies, there is a shitty conspiracy that can fly that I could see him putting together about the hospital behind Sweetie Pies is expanding. And now that she's sold the business, they can now buy the land, tear down Sweetie Pies, and expand. But it's a veterans hospital. Like it's a inherent good for the community. It's not some evil it's not Amazon,
Right.
It's not some corporate. It's like they're trying to expand for veteran care. So, but I could see some world where where he's in jail, like they wanted my mom's business, they
Right.
wanted the brick and mortar,
Right.
so they framed us for the bad. It's just
take
such
us out, yeah.
the bad press would cause her to have to sell the business, and then I'm in prison, and they destroy our family name, and then they could just come to the bank and take the. I could see him trying
but did
something
the
like
Veterans
that.
Hospital pose as you with your cell phone number and try to pull out, I don't know, 5 life insurance policies on your nephew?
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
If you wanna at the very most make them evil as a company who's exploiting the rough times of your family by taking the land, that's about as far as your conspiracy can go. You did it, man.
Yeah.
So you're not innocent.
Well, and
I don't think they're doing that either. But if you wanted to try to call them like the evil take the land hospital,
No.
sure. But you hired a guy to shoot your nephew.
You did. And you know what? He got life in prison. I don't know if is he ever going to be eligible for parole or no?
I didn't see that he was eligible for parole. I only saw life, but I didn't see without the eligibility of parole. So it's possible that he could be eligible for parole.
Yeah.
These ones are tough. Those conspiracy ones are tough because sometimes they take parole off the table. So yeah, I think he deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. What he did was cold and so evil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
trust him in society.
No, I have to agree. I mean, and Miss Robbie deserves to just like move on with her life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
the best she can.
God. Ugh. But you're totally right. Like at the beginning you were saying like it really could have been anybody. I do think that Andre, it's almost like Tim saw an opportunity in Andre because he was a little troubled and was already like caught up in some shit so that like an incident of gun violence would look believable.
Yeah,
and
that's the sick part.
It does make it so sick. Like he preyed on so many people's vulnerability.
Everyone would believe that this guy could just get murdered in the street and everyone would just move on because they go, it's kind of what he was asking for. That's why he picked him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah, very evil guy, Mr. Tim Norman. You are right where you need to be. Amanda, this was a wild and crazy story. I appreciate you taking the time out. Congratulations on your impending nuptials. Have a great time in Vegas. Please, everybody that listens to this already knows about Wine and Crime, but if you want to plug, take the time, handles, give it away, do it all, please.
Sure. You should absolutely follow Wine and Crime. We are at Wine and Crime Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere you can get your podcasts. You could follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of weird, dumb, fun shit. I am at Amander007. And because, we're in the wedding spirit, I'll also just shamelessly plug that I am a wedding officiant. And so you can hire me, and my business is called Treat Your Nuptials, and I am on Instagram and Facebook at Treat Your Nuptials, and I love officiating people's weddings. It's like one of the greatest joys of my life. I can't believe that I get to travel around the country and do that. And yeah, if you're hanging out in Scranton, Pennsylvania in like 2 weeks, I might see you there, maybe at a wedding that I'm officiating. So those are all the places you can find me, and I am so happy and honored that you invited me to come on. I have to be honest, I'm like the worst podcaster in the podcasting sphere because I don't listen to that many podcasts, but Affirmative Murder is on my short list of I have 4 podcasts that I listen to, and Affirmative Murder is right at the top of my feed. I love your show. I love you and Fran.
The feeling is mutual. You stop it now. You stop it now. You stop it right
can't
now.
help it.
Okay, the check's in the mail. The check's in the mail. Okay.
No, I
Feelings
I will
mutual.
tear that up.
The feelings
This
mutual.
is
I love
not
you
a
guys.
paid
pod.
partnership.
Love you guys, pod. Love you. I appreciate you taking the time out. Always a great time. And I will see you at your
Literally 4 months. Like less than 4 months. Like 3 months and 29 days.
Yeah, who's
It's
counting?
fine. My butthole's not puckered at all. I have no heartburn. Everything's great.
Oh, man. Well, listen, folks, thank you guys for joining me and my special guest co-host, Amanda Jacobson. Until next time, you guys be safe out there.
Are you ready to give your space a new pop of color? Start with top paint brands at Lowe's for less. Choose from over 3,000 color options from HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, and more. And when you're ready to buy, place your order online, then choose in-store or curbside pickup. Head to your local Lowe's or visit Lowes.com today to get started on your next paint project. Lowe's knows home improvement.